Well, if we start with a bit of a reflection back on Liverpool, not the result you would have wanted, but what did you take from the performance you saw?
I think that's the word that we were looking for, Kirsty, was the performance. We needed a performance out of the supporters, and we got that because the performance on the pitch was good. And, I might have been boring a lot of people in terms of what I'm talking about and a connection, but I think Sean Dyche said it as well. The connection that he's got and his team's got with the Everton fans, and we're trying to get that going again, because when it is, it's a powerful force, and it certainly helps the players to play at their best of their ability.
And when you take positives out of a game like that, you talked before about lifting the confidence here and the spirits. Have you seen that already, that maybe they have taken a bit more confidence from that heading into the weekend?
Yeah, the players can only take that. I talked to them today. We had a meeting today. I went, "How are you feeling? You should feel good about yourselves. Listen, we're in it to win games of football, but we're playing against one of the best teams in England, arguably one of the best teams in Europe as well. So we're going toe to toe with them. So understanding from a tactical point of view how the game would have panned out, and it did. We need to have a little bit more control in terms of when we have possession, but when we get possession, and if we do that, hopefully we can show our quality the other way as well, because I just don't want to, like you said, just going to be sat on the edge of the box waiting to get beat. So I think the approach of the team was good. We got up the pitch, we asked questions, and got off a lot of respect for Jurgen and his team, and I think that they would have thought that there'd been a game on Wednesday night, and I think anybody who watched that would have said that there's still a little bit of fight and life in Sheffield United still.
In terms of the issues you're trying to solve here, you've come to a team who are the lowest scorers in the league and conceded the most as well. What are you prioritising there? How are you solving that? Do you kind of prioritise one of those issues first?
Try and score at one end and try and keep it out the other end, and the bit in the middle try and be good with. But we understand we have to have a defensive structure, but still, there's some good players at the top of the pitch. We're missing some good players, we understand that, but we've got Archer and we've got young Asulu, who I thought was fabulous on Wednesday night. An incredible challenge for him to be playing against Konate and Virgil van Dijk and James McAtee, who's a young player as well, Gus Aimer. So we've got some players that can hurt teams, and we have to have more control. And without being disrespectful, we're not going to be playing Liverpool every week. The standard is incredibly high, as we know, but there'll be certain games where hopefully we have a little bit more of the ball, and we've got to be better with that. And hopefully when we do have that, we can create and score and change the facts around that you kindly reminded me of.
Apologies for that. Well, next up the challenge is Brentford. What are you expecting from them?
First of all, I've got an awful lot of respect for Thomas Frank. I think he's a really smart manager. He's a good guy as well. We had some great battles in the Championship with him, and I think it's smart in terms of the way that football club has sort of evolved over the last sort of 2 or 3 years. Predominantly in the Championship. A team, a very attack-minded team. I'm not saying they're not an attack-minded team now, because they do attack you from all angles, but 4-3-3, super football side in possession. I think they recognised and realised when they got promoted that they might have to change their outlook a little bit better, a little bit more than going into it as that type of team with that style that they had. Incredible threat from a set piece point of view, powerful, athletic, aggressive, competitive team with technical players in it. So different challenge to what we had on Wednesday night, but still a huge challenge, and a team and a manager that I've got an awful lot of respect for.
You mentioned players you've got missing. Any changes to your team news heading into this weekend?
No, we've got Ollie Norwood out through suspension. Ollie Mack's still out through suspension. There's a couple of players that took bumps and bruises on Wednesday night that will make late calls on. But it's a squad as it is, so I'm not going to moan and groan about players that are unavailable. We're just going to concentrate on the boys that got the new reign or the new period in this fabulous football club's history off to a decent start performance-wise. One of the things that we did talk about is now, and I'm changing tack and possibly contradicting myself a little bit. I needed a performance, and we're in to win. And you have to win to get to this platform or this stage as a player and as a coach and a manager. And from my point of view, relative success that we've all had. We've had to have a winning mentality. Now the focus goes on. Now can we produce that type of performance that we did on Wednesday night? And now, come on, now we need to get a result as well to back that good performance up. So, don't like losing. We didn't accept defeat pretty easy. I believe on another night, with a few things that might have gone our way and should have, I believe, gone our way, then we possibly would have or could have got a result. Still understanding that Liverpool are a fabulous team and a team that, you know, has got an awful lot of admiration from myself and the football club.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
All
you.
the best. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Well, Chris, just as you finish on that, have you sought or possibly just been offered any kind of explanation as to why McAtee didn't get a penalty and then the Bogle challenge?
I think 3 decisions. You know, I even looked at the first goal land date. You know, and I'm not here. You've known me as well for long enough. I'm not going to sit here and tell you my team were brilliant when they weren't. I'm a straight, honest guy in terms of my observations and my assessment of my team after a game, and I will be in every press conference. There's no spin involved. I think we were desperately unfortunate with 3 decisions. You know, I think the first goal, you know, certainly Van Dijk has made a move to impede Jack Robinson, and he falls and he falls on the ground. So, you know, he's not just going to drop to the floor for nothing, and he knows that he's going to get it off me if he does. So he has to be physical, but he's gone across him, and it's a foul. No on-field decision made. The second one, McAtee's penalty, no on-field decision made. And the third one, I mean, I've got to say, not being, I love the show, and I love Dermot, and I know I go back. We've got history in terms of where he's from and where I've managed in Oxford, but for the life of me, an incredible referee comes up with that conclusion as well on Sky that isn't a foul. Well, I'm watching a different sport, because the amount of phone calls I've got and the people I've talked to said that was a foul, and dynamics of it changed a little bit because there's still a little bit of time left. I know we're clutching a little bit, but you know, and they're down to 10 men because that'll be his second yellow as well. But for the life of me, and I didn't think they deserved to get beat 2-0. And who knows, in them last 4 or 5 minutes that we can get something from the game. And it's a definite foul, and delighted that Jayden, you know, I don't think it's a malicious challenge. I don't think he went to do him, but it was one where it was excessive force, as we've known about through John Lundstrom sending off about 2 or 3 years ago. Excessive force. Tackling is different now to what it was, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it's a definite foul. So, you know, I was disappointed with that. I've got to say as well, I'm not just going to sit back, and I know Gary O'Neill has said the same situations, and I've seen some of the decisions that have gone against Wolves. I'm not a manager that's going to sit back. I'm a Sheffield United manager. I'm a Sheffield United supporter, as a manager as well as a fan, and I'm going to stick up for my football club. And I think we've been in the wrong end of 3 poor decisions there, and we're not, you know, maybe because of the situation that we're in, and people just expect us to go down and, you know, just float away. Off you go back down to the Championship, where maybe you belong as a team. I ain't going to accept that, because the season ain't finished, and we need consistency, and we need good decisions to be made. And I think there's some 3 really poor decisions by the referee that on field would have definitely asked the question, and I think that's a case that we, you know, start need to making some more on field decisions that really sort of we get to the right conclusion. And I'm certainly, you know, I can see in the first one, but not 2 or 3. They're just ridiculous. We score that penalty, you know, we still got to take that penalty. We understand that. We've still got to get something out of the game in the last 2 or 3 minutes. We understand that, but I ain't just going to sit by and accept it and be quiet about it. And so that's my feelings on the matter.
Kirsty mentioned about team news stuff, but one of the players that was absent the other day that was a question mark is Baldock. Is there an idea as to his availability or rehab? Yeah,
George has trained today, so we'll make a late decision on him. You know, I think it's going to be the case now. You know, me coming in pretty late, and the senior players, the back-to-back games on a Wednesday and a Saturday, the amount of effort that we put in. It's not acceptable that we drop below those effort levels. And not acceptable that we drop below those from an attitude point of view. It has to be the same. There has to be that consistency. They can't fool me. Like I said after the game on Wednesday night, we've got a base now. Can we be better in possession? Yeah. Can we show the same attitude, aggression, commitment, approach that nearly upset an incredible side and nearly got us a result? So George is part of that group. I'm delighted if he is available, but if he isn't, I thought Jayden Bogle's performance was fabulous. We've got an opportunity to change in the shape as well. So certain things about there that we can mix and match. But the group's light. We all understand that. It's light of numbers and it's light of experience. But in that, delighted Asula, delighted for Brooksy as well. I thought both of them were outstanding against. You've got to look at the opposition, the class of the opposition, who they're up against. And I thought their performances were first class, and hopefully we can see more of that as well.
Because of the intense way that you want Sheffield United to play their game, does fatigue-related issues maybe come into team selection, if not necessarily against Brentford, but moving forward?
Well, they shouldn't do, because we should be getting up to speed. Through the way we're playing and getting conditioned through the way we're playing and the way we're training. How quickly that turns out to be, I don't know, but I won't take any risks or any chances. Obviously, the last 15 minutes for Asula, last 15 minutes for Brooks, they're going into the red zone, and so we had to make those decisions to bring those off, but bring those players off. But conditioning is going to be key, because it's not just the way I want to play, it's the way the supporters want us to play. And you saw the reaction of the supporters afterwards, that they've seen, as I've talked about, a proper Sheffield United performance, and that is how we must play. This is where we've always had our success, playing on the front foot, playing aggressive front foot football, being competitive and having to run about. The best teams in the world run about. It's a bit of a I don't know what the word is, nonsense really, that people think that Man City don't run about and all the other top teams don't run about. Arsenal, Spurs, all the top teams, Villa, they all work extremely hard out of possession and in possession, and we have to match that and go above it if we want to be competitive.
Just provide a view, a snapshot, because obviously we don't see what goes on at the training ground and what have you. Quick appointment, 1 day's training, Liverpool. There's been the massive volume of 2 days training since then. So what's kind of been the plan over the course of these
not really.
couple of days?
Recovery
day. Okay.
Recovery day. So of course, if it was a free week, we'd want to train, and we'd want to pick that up and get more ideas into the players. But it's the same. It's 1 day's training really. Recovery day yesterday. 1 day's training again today. Very light because we don't want to use all our energy on the training ground. We want to use it for a Saturday afternoon because we'll need it.
You mentioned about having a certain way of playing because Liverpool and they dominate the ball. Might Brentford provide more of an opportunity, if you like, for Sheffield United to get on the ball?
Well, yeah, I think that Liverpool dominate every opposition. So, Brentford would have felt that when they played them. They played them a couple of weeks ago, so they all do because of the quality and the fantastic players that they've got and the way they're tuned to the way they play because they've been doing it for so long now. But another team that yet again works incredibly hard out of possession and in possession, so those stats don't change. But in terms of us, I think that without being disrespectful, we might have a little bit more of the ball, and we have to make ourselves have a little bit more of the ball by being aggressive, by winning duels, by winning first and second balls, and then having the courage and bravery to play. One of my little disappointing things that we talked about and criticism of the team on Wednesday night at half time was that we need to be a little bit more braver in possession and more step into the game. It is really difficult when you play Liverpool. It is really difficult when the manager wants a really fast start. So now the key is can we take ourselves out of that sort of mindset of being aggressive, really intense in getting that ball to then be a little bit more in control and have a little bit more control of the game. So we'd like to think that we'll have a little bit more of the ball against Brentford, and hopefully we can create a few more chances.
Can I just ask finally, in the very short term, look, what's happened, but what did you kind of say to Vinny Souza before the game? Because that was, from what he was doing before to now, I mean, it was probably his best performance of the season, I suppose, in Sheffield United colours. What did you say to him?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, I'm just looking for some life inspiration, maybe, if there is anything.
Do you need it?
Probably. Don't I? But just,
no, I just said that,
listen,
Andy, I just tried to, I think, me well enough now, I'm a players manager, and we all are, we're all players managers, we all try to get the best out of the players. So whatever message was to Vinny, whatever message it was to all the old players, they took on board it, and that had been disrespectful or critical of what happened in the past, because I've been in that situation a couple of years ago where it's a difficult situation, but we wanted to do certain things. We wanted to lift the players' spirits and give them a little bit more belief and a little bit more courage. I think the game plan was and the approach was key to that, and for me, I'm still learning about these players. I know about the Bulldogs and the McBurneys and the Flecks and the Norwoods and the Egans and all those boys, Reece Norrington Davis. I know a little bit more about the younger boys, but I know not so much about the Vinnies, but I thought he was outstanding, and he will know, I should imagine, through messages from the players, that I won't accept a one-off performance. So now is the time to go again and earn more trust in the manager. So he's got that shirt. I thought he was outstanding. We changed it the last 5 minutes just to risk and reward a little bit more with Ollie Norwood, but he was excellent, as were all the players, and they have to replicate that. So the message, pretty simplistic stuff, and to get the best out of them, and to know, yet again, if they do, A, B, and C for this football club, how much it'll get recognised by the supporters, and how much, I should imagine, the talk of was about Vinny's performance, about the two young kids playing, and about re-energising. But I understand as well that there's new bounce manager, but I won't accept the new bounce manager thing. This has to be a start for everybody, because if it is, then we give ourselves a chance. If it isn't, then the inevitable, what everybody else is thinking happens.
So.
Cheers, mate.
Chris, Mbeumo, we understand, is missing for them. How much of a relief is that, their top scorer, and does it change the way you approach the game?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I think it'd be completely disrespectful if we think that one player's out, changes the attitude. It opens it up for another good player to come in. So, they're not a one-man band. They're a team. They're a really good team as well, being crafted and constructed very, very well by the football club and Thomas. So, will he be disappointed that he's not playing? Just as much as I am that Ollie Mack is not playing, same. But Sula will play, and I suppose somebody from there will get the opportunity to go and take on Brian's place and come in and do a job for him.
And I know you don't want to give too much away about what the message was to the players, but we spoke to Gustavo during the week, and he was saying he's just happier playing as a kind of an 8 rather than wide. Have you tweaked what he does for you?
Well, that's what I've always seen him playing this position. I think what we tried to do was try to play the players in the best positions. There was a couple that positionally were playing a little bit out of position. Mac has played as a 10. He's played wandering, but we felt that him coming off the line was the best for him, and Cam did the same on the other side. So, put your best players in your best positions at the top of the pitch where they can try and create. And I think they'll be a little bit disappointed because they've both had a couple of chances as well, and maybe because of lack of confidence, a lack of belief. But hopefully, we're trusting my players now, and I trust them. And hopefully they can go and produce the goods, because they were excellent in a lot of things as well. So yeah, listen, you do what you do. Everybody's got their own methods, and I wasn't trying to be clever with Andy. They're pretty simplistic things that we talk about. Down to earth, non-negotiable stuff really. So I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. These boys have to run around and they have to compete and they have to commit. and if they commit to that, then I believe in the way we play, good things can happen and will happen.